Hello everybody out there in RC land that loves RC cars. I'm going to do a little video here if I can manage to make this happen with my poor man's camera holder. And what I will be attempting to do is, once I get everything set, there we go. I don't need my headlamp. I have a differential out of a Hypergo 14301, and this has been done on the internet, but it took me a minute to learn how to do this, to get my head around it where I feel comfortable. And you can take these out of your cars, buy any kind of RC car that has it, and use silicone, which I have 7K differential fluid silicone here that I use with it. And I've kind of got them lined up the way it makes sense to me. And first thing I like to do, get that out of the way, is put the grub screw back in this plastic end. And what I have here is silicone oil, 3-in-1. The oil more or less dries up over time, or does what it's going to do, and you have silicone. So I really like it. I use it on my airplanes and my helicopters especially, to keep all that nice and lubricated. And you got to be careful on this scrub screw to not cross thread it into this plastic. You got to make it run true. And pretty much when it starts in a straight line, which I hadn't got it too straight, got to redo that. Just continue working. The silicone, see, when you oil anything, it helps it get started and go in there, so that's really important. Okay, so that little screw right there, actually, want to make sure it works. Okay, what you do is, to start rebuilding it, you've got a bearing here, and I put several drops of bearing oil in here, even though it'll be greased outside when I finally install it. You want to get plenty of oil. Don't be stingy on the oil. Make these things last longer, because you got to pay for every single piece of this. And it sets on it like that. Let's see, I believe that's right. And you just pop it down, and then you put your washer, drop your washer in there. And really, I bought a set of screws and this stand that I keep my RCs on, that I work on, a rotating stand, and this came with it. So I really like this because it's at an angle and it manipulates down. I think I got the stand and all the screws and little tools off of Amazon. So once you get it right, the reason that grub screw's in there, and these particular ones, is you line the hole up in here with that grub screw hole, and you take the pin that goes in, and you start running it in. And this is when this comes in real handy. You take it, and it goes right in there. As you can see, it's going in. So, okay, I got that lined up. So what I do now is, you take this gear, and it's got a beveled out place that matches that pin. So you basically get that lined up and set that in there, and it'll go down flush with the pin there it sets on. So see, it's ready to go now. Now it'll fall out, so you gotta be careful about that. So at this point, kind of set that aside, be easy with it. And what you do next is actually back to what I was doing before. I put the grub screw back in. We'll go ahead and put a little bit of oil. Like I said, you just got to eyeball what's true on it. That fell out, but that's okay. There we go. That's straight. Okay. Then you keep slight pressure on it where you want Allen wrench don't pop out, but you don't want to get too crazy because you're still in plastic, you know. And then basically just do that flush. That's all you got to do. That lock seals that hole up. And then, as you can see, I'm still locked in there good. So the next thing you do is you put your spider gears together. Camera's going to move a little bit. I had to get up and check it. So they just set facing in, not like that, facing out. They face in, and you can't make a mistake really because it won't go in there if you don't do it right. There's only 2 ways to put them in. So you just put the little spider gears back on there. That's still in there. And each spider gear has a little notch on it, of course, and it goes in the notch right there. So you can't screw it up really, other than dropping the spider gears off, which I just did. It's good for finger dexterity, especially if you have problems with your hands. All this little stuff. And so you set her down in there and you start turning it until everything kind of locks in. I got a little bit of tightness in there, which is a good thing. That just fell out. So this, of course, is a real-time video. And I'm going to use a little silicone oil. Don't hurt nothing. It's all, silicone is what I'm going back with. Just grease those little slots up. That's a neat little thing I found somewhere back in the day. I don't know where I got it, but those are, you can find stuff like that. It's got the tiny nozzles. So as far as I know, everything's looking good. I'm still not satisfied with how that's working. As far as I can tell, I don't have a whole lot of wear on these. And this was a used 14301 I got off of Facebook Marketplace. It was used. I don't think it was used abusively or a whole lot. So keep dropping them. As I told you, it's good for your finger dexterity. And all right. So there it goes. As you can see, it's kind of a pain a little bit. You got to kind of press them into the little slots right here. Don't be afraid of it. You're not going to hurt it. It's all good metal. You see how they turn freely? Which that's a good thing. And then you can even start your silicone process a little bit. And you just, it's really thick. You can just put your little dab in there like that to get it started. That helps a lot once you start lubricating it. And it actually starts helping getting the air out of it. Now this is supposed to be completely full to where it squeezes out of the screw holes. So you don't have to worry about that. And you know, they say you're supposed to work it and get all the air out of it. And this process right here, it gives you a couple of minutes. Or you can just like leave it if you want to and go get a cup of coffee or whatever you want to do. And you just keep turning it, as you see. And one thing when you put that silicone in there, I don't know if you saw that on camera, but it pushes it up, which is weird to me. It's so thick, I guess it just, the air. You know, it's a little messy, but hey, it's no big deal. I'm a retired plumber. I started out at Roto-Rooter back in the early 90s and worked for a plumbing company and worked for myself for a long time. Did drain work. Trust me, I've seen messier and nastier than this. So you just keep adding a little dab in there. It doesn't take much. That bottle will last a long time. And like I said, you want to continue to make sure that stays, you know, mashed down kind of flat. And it's doing pretty well now. And see, it's kind of continue to get the silicone down in there. Of course, it has a whole lot of air in it, but really that, you know, as long as it's full with that much lubrication, it ain't gonna be no big deal. And I think I'm gonna move my car, and I believe I have, yeah. I see I've been able to, I'm gonna bring my stand in frame. See, I set it in there, the little holes that are in that, which is very convenient. It's also really good for your shocks, when you do your shocks, which I'll be doing them later. There's my little shocks. And this is just kind of a maintenance thing I'm doing after getting it used, and it definitely needed it. So I won't have to do that for a while. So next thing you want to do is you start on the other end of it. And like I said, I just put about 3 drops on each side of the bearing with silicone oil, and it gets in there and lubes it really good. Get you a good start. So it just goes on, it fits on a beveled place on the end piece there. I don't know the name of it right out of the gate, but so you take that bevel piece fits in that bearing, and so they just mate up together. See how mated that is? Then you don't forget your washer, because I do. And then you got to take your pin back out. So you take these little pins, be really careful with them. And what I use is magnets. I've got like, I don't know if you can see it, but all those little screws, they're on this little magnet, piece of magnet here. And they're invaluable to hold your little stuff. Because when you lose these pins, if you don't have an extra pin, you're in trouble. So you put your pin in there. And what I should have done was turn it to make it flat, to get it off these little ridges. There you go. There we go. So you just center it, it just pushes in there. And then you take this gear, which is beveled, and you just set it on there till it sets flat. And you kind of press down on it and see how it dropped in. So now it's level. And this will fall out, of course. So one trick that the guy I was watching on YouTube that did, but he said is put a little bit of silicone right here, just a little dab, and it literally holds the piece when you have to turn it. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So you set that there you go. So it's sitting on there ready to go. At this point, let's see. Okay, let me think. Okay, this metal, you wouldn't want to use metal on plastic. So they give you a plastic piece here that sets on here, and there's 4 holes drilled in it that line up with these holes, and you can't do it wrong. If you do it upside down, it won't fit in there. I'll give you an example. Let's see if I can do it right. No, that's correct. You probably won't be able to see it, but these are square little divot things that come up on top of it. Anyway, if you put them there, you won't line the holes up, literally, because I tried it. It literally will not line up. So it's something that helps you not mess up. And it's smart manufacturing. Even at this small level of cost for these, I think you can get a brand new one of these for $89. And I know when they came out, they're about $200, about 3 years ago. Well, that's like everything. But they're very well engineered. So when you drop it in correctly on the right side, the little hose line up. So now we're ready. All we have left is the 4 screws. And so we'll lower that down easy and add a little bit more silicone. Let's see if I'm still recording. Yeah. I probably won't be able to upload this on the Hypergo Facebook pages. They don't like videos this long. So this will be on my YouTube channel. And pretty much want to just keep putting some in there until you don't want it slopping over, running over on the floor, but you want it full. And there's going to be some that's going to squeeze out through those holes. And that's plenty good. All right, so at this point, your goal is to line up the little holes, and it can be really messy. So this is the part that all right, stand by. I'm going to set that back in there just a minute. It's like anything else when you're bolting things together. You know, if you can get 2 of them opposite of each other, more or less, lined up, it'll line the other holes up. So it's kind of my experience in my life doing stuff. So let's see. Uh-oh. All right. And I probably should have put some silicone on that, but we'll see if I can get away with it. There's 1 hole. There's 2 holes. Okay. So now you're screwing this into plastic. These metal screws are going into plastic. So you don't get in a hurry. You just take your time. It's like you back the screw out backwards. You don't want to immediately start screwing it in. Go counterclockwise, back it out, and you can kind of feel it jump a little bit, and that's right where the hole starts, the thread part. And so, especially with all that silicone in all those holes, you're well lubricated. You see how they're going down real easy? And like when you're doing brake shoes or putting any kind of boat system together, you don't want to tighten down the bolts. You can get all the bolts in there. Get them all started. And you can run them down in there, but don't tighten them up. Leave some slack. As you can see them sticking up right there. So, of course, the other 2 holes are lined up perfect. So you need to start 2 opposite whatever you're doing when you're working on stuff. And then, usually, you might get a little tight, but not super tight. That one's always going to be 1. It mucks with you. So what I do, and you don't want to, you got to be real good at judging when you've got something tight, especially in plastic. So you want to undercompensate So you can use power tools, but you got to be real careful, watch what you're doing. Like that one's giving me some trouble. Now it'll go on down in there with a little bit more tension than I can put on it with this. So I've got a Black & Decker. This is a gyro. That's pretty cool in and of itself. But so what you do is you line it up, and then see, this is a variable speed. You need a variable speed drill, not a constant speed, because you can go really slow. But it's got the same torque and the pulling power, and you just kind of go down. You can kind of lightly hold on to whatever you're, but sometimes it's hard to do that. So you just run them on in there. That one's out quite a bit there. Okay, and then what I do, you get another size up, hold it really tight at this point, because she's still screwing down in there. Then you go across. You don't go like right here to right here. You go across. And you tighten it down to just snugs. It ain't got to be super tight, because if you over tighten it, you could crack the housing. You could crack that plastic housing over time. So just take it down till it stops. And that's it, pretty much. So of course I did a video, I think I did, with lighter fluid, just charcoal lighter fluid in a glass outside. And it completely, pretty much to my satisfaction, cleans all the grease off. Now you can get a little toothbrush and brush them and all that if you want to do that. And so this one is in really good shape, and it's only a used one, so you don't have to go buy. These things are like maybe $12. Now see, they'll turn, like you can turn this way counterclockwise and this way clockwise, and ain't nothing going to happen. The way you put your fingers on it right there, and you try to turn the whole thing, and it won't turn. So it locks in. But I assure you, this thing's going to work good, because it will not work. Once you get that in there, if you've done something wrong, which you can't hardly make a mistake on this. So this is a rebuilt one. If you take care of them, you can do these several times, I would imagine, before something just slap wears out. So there you go. That one's ready to go. And then I'll be doing a YouTube video on how to do these. Like I said, those videos have already been done. They're out there, but, you know, it's just a different person doing it. Maybe you'll see this one on an algorithm where you won't see theirs. That'll come up. These are really cool. For the front end steering, those are really nice, especially for a 16th, or excuse me, this is a 14th scale. But still, those are nice for the price you pay. All right, I'm out of here. Take care.